Hi everyone, it's Julia from Artfully You, and today we are going to be exploring X-ray art. So X-ray art has been used by a lot of Canadian artists, the most famous being Norval Morisot, as far as I know. And I just fell in love with his work when I got this lovely little handbag with his designs on. And since then, I have been exploring all different forms of X-ray art by various artists, and I just love the use of color and the black outline, which kind of gives it the name X-ray art. So without further ado, let's go. We are just painting our surface any shape or size that you like with our base color, which in this case is cerulean, or this is the artist loft version of turquoise, which is similar to cerulean. If you don't have cerulean, then phthalo blue with a bit of white, or even cobalt blue, add a tiny bit of yellow to give it a little bit of a green feel, and a bit of white would totally be fine. I'm going to put a second layer on now. Especially because I'm painting on wood, I want a really smooth surface and I want it to be totally saturated with color. Your second layer doesn't have to be as thick and precise as your first layer because it's already got that nice base layer. I'm just screen sharing for a minute the image so you can see it, the original painting for a minute, and I'm going to get a Sharpie out. You could do it in pencil first if you want, or if you're feeling brave, you can go straight for Sharpie. And the two flowers either side of my focal flower almost in the middle. So I'm just going to indent these a little bit. So I'm going to draw the center of the flowers and then at the same position. And then, so it's kind of useful to see that rule of three, the triangles. So I'm only drawing the black. If for any reason you put black where you don't want it, it's not a problem. We can paint over it. A space. Interesting. This one has 5 petals and the two either side have 4.
Oh dear, I just drew 5.
That's okay. It's your version. It doesn't matter.
Oh, mine are, I got to make the side ones smaller. I think I got carried away.
That's right. Whenever I do this with a class, it's kind of, it looks like such a simple thing, but when you start drawing it, you then appreciate, and this is why I do these appreciating artist series. You really appreciate the thought that goes into it because it's not as straightforward as you think it is. Oh, and his choice so when we design our own, you'll see how choice of color and placement is very important, as well as the object composition. So I'm not going to do any detail just yet. I'm going to just focus on where my shapes are going to go. to start with. So we're going to join these flowers together. Again, this is our version, so it doesn't have to look like the original. And then I'm going to bring out these two kind of leaves. So short line, actually very short lines. Another leaf here. And what I like about this work is it's never symmetrical. There's always slight variations in color or shape. Pretty subtle. Okay, I'm going to go in and do these kind of the buds. Again, I'm just focused on placement right now. The eyes of the birds. So I'm going to do a circle here and a circle up here. So I'm drawing this part and this part. Then I'm going to do that inside body bit, this kind of kidney shape. And the same on this one. This one's a bit more oval. Let's say I find this an easy way. I'm going to put these here so you can see exactly what I'm drawing. I find it easier to do that. And I find with this one, it does help me fill it in pretty much straight away. Then I can see my shape. So even though I'm coloring it in with Sharpie now, I am going to go over this with black paint later. I find this far easier than trying to paint this. Kind of remind me of hummingbirds. What kind of birds does everybody think these are?
I'm guessing it's a gull of some kind.
Yeah. Well, some of the other ones are thunderbirds, but you know, they kind of fantasy birds.
So he may have made hummingbirds or gulls, but mine look like storks.
Ah, well, there you go. You've got some originality in it already.
I think mine look like pigeons.
Ah, see, we've got such a variety of birds going on. How nice is that?
Oh dear.
So I'm just going to go and outline all of those shapes with a little bit of a thicker black Sharpie, so I didn't bother about keeping the audio on because it did take a little bit of time. I just wanted to jump ahead and explain what I'm going to do after I've done this black outline. One of the things you can see is the yellow paint. Now, because we're painting on a blue background, if we were to place yellow paint directly onto that blue background, it would be a little bit transparent and you need quite a few layers. So a good thing to do is to give it a white base. So after I've gone around and done all of these black areas, I'm going to paint the areas that I want yellow with white first. And then I'm going to do yellow on top when it dries. Now, one of the things I am going to talk about is if you have a little bit of a wobbly hand or an issue with small areas, a kind of shortcut is to use paint markers instead of using paint. And paint markers, you can get a variety of different brands. Posca's is probably the best brand that I've used, but I managed to pick up some budget friendly paint based markers from a little store, and I'm going to talk about those next. But these are a paint marker, so they're different from the Prismacolors because you shake them and it's a bit like chalk paint, you know. I'll show you on the, you kind of have to pump them, and then eventually the might not be mixed properly. But these are completely opaque, so you could for sure.
Okay. So
see how it's like white? It's not,
yes.
And it stays white. It's a bit like a whiteout, you know, if I was to do.
Oh, but it's
like
color out as well.
Yeah, so if I was to do
Okay.
it there, you see how
yes.
it's completely, but a Prismacolor marker wouldn't do that because it's designed for paper.
Okay. I think that's what I need then for this.
These are awesome. So they had Poscas in desserts, and they were actually on sale. It was $35 for a pack of 8, I think. But you can also get cheap versions from, like, as long as you go for paint pens or paint markers, you can get them from like the dollar store and stuff. I find the light ones are the ones I use the most for like touching up my paintings in really tiny areas I can't get a paintbrush in. But yeah, okay. They're also good to put a little undercoat on where you need to put something really like a bright yellow. You can use these to put an undercoat on your canvas first, and then when you paint on top, it's a bit like putting a little dab of white paint on.
Oh, sort of to make it pop like we did with the tulips back.
Yeah, exactly. So
yes. Okay.
So if I did that and then I painted over it, then yeah. Okay. But these are cool. But I know, you can get cheaper versions on Amazon and like in the dollar store and stuff. The Poscas are really good. They're kind of like
how do you spell
Christmas?
that?
Posca.
Posca. Okay, Posca. I will do that. I think that will help me a lot because I have trouble with the very fine lines and details.
Me too.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not anywhere like your difficult, like your skill. But yeah, I think that might help with the frustration and getting all upset. Sometimes they do.
You can also use, those little whiteout pens.
Oh, yes.
The correction pens, they work the same. They're just
the
paint.
White. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we have some, but I was trying it and it dried up. So I'll get the proper thing.
Do the good ones last very long, Julie, or do they dry out fairly quickly compared to paint in the tube?
We've had one set just between Dean and I, and he uses them all the time. We've had them a year and they haven't dried out. They seem to be lasting, and you can buy like one at a time as well and just build up your colors. I think they're about $5 each or something.
How well do they match? Like, we mix colors with the acrylics, but those are like one yellow, one red, one blue. So you can't really mix them in the same way we do the acrylics.
No, I just use them for fine work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that would be useful for me. Thank you. All right. When you work on literally anything, some things like rock painting and say personalising a mug for somebody, quite amazing. And I think once you've painted on say ceramic, you can bake it, and like when you let it heat, and I think then it stays on because it's water based. Does it fade? I haven't had anything fade. No. Well, I have been doing the polyurethane on a few gifts that I have given away, just to family who think they're wonderful. My sister Maria is taking an in-person class, and she's really enjoying it. So, but it's a different approach. Each person just brings what they might like to draw, and then or paint, and he helps them. But a lot of them, she was the only beginner, but he was very helpful, and he supplied everything until she knew if she wanted to commit to it. Oh, that's great. So, yeah, it's just a different approach. Yeah, like an open studio type thing. Yeah, and everybody's very supportive of the other, and they walk around and look at each other's work and encourage each other, and so it's just a different approach, and it's really working for her. That's lovely. Yeah, I've run the open studio before as well. I'm doing a half open studio, half guided at Hamilton Golf and Country Club. And we're doing a hybrid. Approach where we're doing alternating in person and virtual every other week. And the virtual is taught like step by step, and then the in person is open studio. So it's a kind of like a hybrid. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Is that what used to be the Ancaster golf course, Julie? I think so. No, I don't even know it as Hamilton. Yeah. Yeah, it is in Ancaster, and it's a gorgeous course. Oh, yeah, it's gorgeous, and the clubhouse is beautiful. I've gone to retirement parties there, and wow, it's beautiful. The artwork, they have a curator for the artwork. They've got so much famous artwork there, it's gorgeous. Yeah, one of my classmates met, she was widowed, and she met her husband there. Oh, really? And they got married, yeah. They were both playing golf, and then love happened, and yeah. I had a very close call just near there. I grew up in Hamilton and was an avid cyclist, and I was riding my bike up Golf Links Road, which back then was a dirt country road, and a golf ball whizzed right in front of me. Oh, really? Within about a foot, like I could see it. It almost hit me right in the head. Oh my goodness. I'm dating myself calling Golf Links a dirt road. It's now like 6 lanes, major artery. Oh yeah, that area has really grown a lot. So I'm doing. So what I'm doing is, you see where all the yellow is? Oh, you're just doing that. I'm doing an underpainting so the yellow stands out. I would normally do this with paint, with white paint, but seeing as I got these out to show Leon anyway, I thought I'd do. So we're doing an underpainting everywhere where there's going to be yellow. I'm doing it white so that it has a nice base. And because I'm on a pretty small canvas, it's quite handy. But it's a little bit like when we do the group of 7 style stuff. We do the sketch and then the darks and lights first. Can I show you mine to see what you think so far? Yeah. Oh, fabulous. Oh, it's gorgeous. Is that alright? Yeah, very whimsical. Yeah, I love it. I'm seriously having chemo brain right now, so I'm just trying to get through this, but I'm enjoying it. It's been a good change from chemo brain. Yeah, I have stage 3 breast cancer, so it's surgery, and this is my delight is doing this with you guys. Oh, Karen, I'm so sorry. We're so pleased that you're here. I'm beautiful. And I thought if I keep up, great, and if I don't, great. Well, I have 16 chemos booked in 20 weeks. Oh my goodness. Well, we're delighted to have you. As you know, Hannah's been through it, and here to support you. We'll record everything in case you don't feel like it. And I'm here. If you want any help in between classes, just give me a call. Thank you. No, so far I'm doing okay. I have it on Thursday, so by Monday it's sort of my first day of feeling a little normal. Yeah. So I'm quite excited that I'm able to do this. So thank you everybody for your patience. No, we are. We're here and sending lots of love. Where are you going, Sharon, for your treatment? My chemo is at Ultramarine, and I've had the most wonderful experience known to man. And radiations will be at Credit Valley because we don't have chemo at on-site radiation at Credit Valley. So yeah, I've had surgery and wound system and everything else in now. But so far so good. We're getting through it. So your positive attitude is a big part of it, being optimistic and trying to live life fully and not letting it pull you right down. Exactly. So I'm feeling good, all things considered. So I think that's good. That's wonderful. Well, thanks for his radiation at Divinsky in Hamilton. Yeah, he said they were wonderful as well. Yeah. And how's he feeling now? Oh, he's amazing now. Yeah, like a new person. And he's really focused on diet and healthy eating, and he's found some interesting things that help him, like sugar. Yeah. He collects sugar. He's done a lot of foraging in the forest, so he collects turkey tail mushrooms and sugar and makes a tea a couple times a day with that. It's a Chinese medicine that's been around for thousands of years, and he finds that really helps. And he drinks tons of green tea. He basically doesn't drink at all anymore. Just has green tea at night with this concoction that he makes. And yeah, my daughter's a naturopath, so she sent me to someone in the city on Friday. That's all he does is naturopath oncology. So yeah. So that's now that I have enough symptoms to actually go see him about, I can. My doctor said I don't want to give you any more medication. You're on enough, so if we can do this naturally, that would be better. So get it glad we're on the same page. So. I'd love the guy's number if you don't mind. Sure. Yeah. I'll tell you all about it once I'm there. If he's good, yeah. And Ken's found quitting sugar has helped a lot. So I'm just going around where the yellow is going to be. I'm just going around with this white as an underpainting. Kind of looks pretty like that, actually. Quite like a black and white. It'll look really nice with the colour better. May I show you mine? Yeah, I'd love to see it, yeah. Well, I'm way behind, but lines because, you know, when we apply the paint, it might be hard to stay within the edges, but we're going to add another layer of black anyway. So that looks lovely. Yeah, your birds are adorable. I just love this piece how the birds are incorporated into the branches of the flowers. It's like the birds are growing out of the flowers. Lovely. Okay, I'll just keep at it. Keep at it. I know. You know what? I find this stage can be a little bit frustrating, but once you add the colours, it comes together so quickly. We will need 2 layers of every colour as well, just a FYI. It's worth putting 2 layers on. It really pops with 2 layers of colour. So I am going to go to the art store again on Saturday. So if anybody wants me to save them the trip and you need me to pick anything up, I'm happy to pick it up, and I can, at any point you can come to, I'm at Oakville Art Society every Saturday morning. So if it's easier, if you need any supplies and it's easier for you to just come pick stuff up from there, I'm happy to do a group shop and you can just come and collect it from me on Saturday and you can see where I work on a Saturday. Oh, that would be wonderful. So these Posca pens, would they be at wherever you're shopping? Or? It says, and you can order them online as well. Oh, okay, I have to do that. I don't know if the sale, because you have some of them reduced, I don't know if they're on sale online, you can check. And then if they're not, I can pop in and get them and then meet you there. That saves you a journey. Actually, we're not going there anyway, I may as well get everybody's stuff. You heard of the one at Winston Churchill, like over in Dundas near... Yes, I just found that one. I just found it, so it's really not too far. I think it's maybe 2 or 3 kilometers away. So actually, I could drop by. That's okay. I mean, it's a way out for me because it's 20 minutes in the wrong direction away from Bronte, where I teach. So it's about 50 minutes from my house. And then I was so tired, got on the highway the wrong direction. Started seeing like skyscrapers thinking, what's going on? This doesn't look familiar. And I was like in Mississauga and I just completely went the wrong way trying to get home. I went there again. It's dangerous going into those stores because I'm much better at buying art supplies than using them. But if you order online, it all comes in it's free if you're spending not a whole lot of money. And it all comes in a lovely box and you open it up, it's like Christmas. So to save you time, order online. Yeah. And they've got things online that appears that like those discount packages and a bunch of other bulk stuff that I guess you can order right in the store. Well, maybe I'll go look online later because I do need to buy bulk canvases because I'm teaching the lighthouse piece on Wednesday at Boston Pizza, so I need to go get a whole bunch of canvases for that. Will we be using turquoise again? Don't think so. I think we're all done with the turquoise. Thank you. So because I happen to have the right pen color with this pink, I'm going to put a little bit of pink in. But you carry on doing what you're doing because we'll all paint together next week. But I thought, well, I've got this out. For doing the white, what brush would you suggest? A small one. I wouldn't use an angled one because you need to get
So that's all you need to do for next week, unless you would like to go further with it. I'm just going to show you this light blue. So it's ultramarine and white. And you see where all the outlines of these little petals are. Again, I'll probably need 2 layers of this, but I'm just going to have a tiny bit of paint just on the end. You see that with the ultramarine?
Yep.
So it looks white, but it will actually dry a shade darker. And if I still find it's too light, I can always add a little bit more blue to it later. That's a little bit better. It did go. It's funny how once you put it on, it looks slightly different. There we go.
Julia, I went with a purple.
Nice.
Just because.
Just because.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. That's what I thought. Why not?
Oh, that went really dark. Well, ultramarine is quite purpley. So purple is a good alternative.
Well, maybe that's what I thought.
How is everybody getting along? Does anybody want me to see what they've done so far?
We're all focused, Julie.
That's good. I like focus. So you see how, so this is pure ultramarine here. And this is the ultramarine with white on the outside.
Okay. Okay. All right. I get it now. Okay. Thank you.
And obviously all of this will need 2 layers, which we'll work on next week.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to do the outside first because then you can, you know, go slightly inside with it when you add the darker color. You see that?
Yep.
Yep. And don't worry if you're losing some of your black edge, because we can put all that in again later.
Any rule of thumb as to how many colors you should limit yourself to in this type of art?
I would say no more than 4. Because it can get a bit too busy. So a good way to choose the colors is to think about a triad. You know, so your basic triad would be blue, yellow, and red. So think about a triad on the color wheel. So triad is 3 colors evenly spaced. Then you can bring in maybe 1 or 2 more. So so this is a triad of red, yellow, and blue. And then they've brought in green and pink. But the pink is the red base. So the green is, you know, just add in, turning it into a tetrad. But it's still, the main focus is a triad, like 3 main colors. It can be tempting to say, I'm going to do all the colors and bring in some oranges, and then it can get a little bit too busy. And you can forget where you've been. And so the other thing is when you design your own is to put in 1 color at a time in this, you know, the triangles, because then you can see where you can start building the composition and make sure you have even color placement.